don't scare Negroes today with no badge or no white skin or no white sheet or no white anything else. The police the same way. They put their club upside your head and then turn around and accuse you of attacking them. Every case of police brutality against a Negro follows the same pattern. They attack you, bust you all upside your mouth, and then take you to court and charge you with assault. What kind of democracy is that? What kind of freedom is that? What kind of social or political system is it when a black man has no voice in court, has nothing on his side other than what the white man chooses to give? My brothers and sisters, we have to put a stop to this. And it will never be stopped until we stop it ourselves. They attack the victim. And then the criminal who attacked the victim accuses the victim of attacking him. This is American justice. This is American democracy. And those of you who are familiar with it know that in America, democracy is hypocrisy. Now, if I'm wrong, put me in jail. But if you can't prove that a democracy is not hypocrisy, then don't put your hands on me. Democracy is hypocrisy. If democracy means freedom, why aren't our people free? If democracy means justice, why don't we have justice? If democracy means equality, why don't we have equality? Who are you? You don't know. Don't tell me Negro, that's nothing. What were you before the white man named you a Negro? And where were you? And what did you have? What was yours? What language did you speak then? What was your name? It couldn't have been Smith or Jones or Bunch or Powell. That wasn't your name. They don't have those kind of names where you and I came from. No, what was your name? And why don't you now know what your name was then? Where did it go? Where did you lose it? Who took it? And how did he take it? What tongue did you speak? How did the man take your tongue? Where is your history? How did the man wipe out your history? What did the man do to make you as dumb as you are right now? 20 million black people in this country have been like boys in the white man's house. He even calls us boys. Don't care how big you get, he calls you boy. You can be a professor. To him, you're just another boy. I heard him calling Ralph Bunche. Well, he's a good old boy. And if we can't do it, we should hush our mouth. If you can't do for yourself what the white man is doing for himself, don't say you're equal with the white man. If you can't set up a factory like he sets up a factory, don't talk that old equality talk. Get off the welfare. Get out of that compensation.
Are they singing? They are singing. That's why I hate these church-going Negroes, always praying and singing and praying. They all want to go to heaven, but none of them want to die.
What is good, my people? We are live back again with another live broadcast on the forecast. What's going on, yo? Shouts out to Consider in the building. We're gonna probably be back Wednesday at 8:30, so make sure y'all tune into that, and definitely gotta see what we're gonna discuss next week, and so make sure y'all tune in for that. But shouts out to Consider, y'all support Realm in the Bush and everything that she doing, and support everybody out there. Now, today I don't plan on being on here long, and I know what everybody is talking about, but I'm not going to talk about it, of course, because everybody else is, and I'm not going to lie, I'm kind of getting tired of the way that we are treating the quote unquote politics these days, you know what I'm saying? As black people, everybody know every damn thing, you know what I'm saying? And we sitting there arguing about two old white dudes, and so I'm gonna ignore all of that. And what I'm gonna do is talk about something else. All right. Now, first though, what's going on, Grandma used to say, Erica in the building. I want to talk about and by the way, I appreciate you for coming too. Y'all shouts out Erica in the building. I appreciate you coming in. So we're not going to talk about any of that nonsense, you know. But what we're going to do today is I'm going to talk a little bit about history, and then I'll probably get into like a little bit of my foolishness. You know what I'm saying? I ain't going to lie to y'all. Y'all know how I do. Okay. All right, so let me go ahead and get into it. And by the way, you know, if Erica and consider, you know, I'll show y'all a little bit of what I'm gonna talk about, but I'm gonna talk about the history part first before I talk about the other part. But I wanted y'all to see this. And we're gonna come back to this though. But it was a update with that.
That breaking news at the top now at noon. Prosecutor
with that OnlyFans girl, you know, and how they took evidence from the young man after she smoked him, you know. But first though, we're gonna talk about history, you know, some things that happened like today or like this week, you know. Now this sister here, who was the first one, she actually was like one of the first black women to receive a patent, and she did it on this day, you know, a long time ago. If it come up, now it's gonna start messing up, man. Come on, man. Every time I come on here, my computer started doing this. It wasn't doing this the whole time. All right.
Now, today we're going to be talking about Sarah Elizabeth Good, who was an entrepreneur and an inventor. And she was one of the first African-American women to receive a U.S. patent, which she received in 1885. Now, to give a little background on Sarah Good.
Okay. All right, my bad, y'all. I don't know.
Welcome to Black Inventor to receive a U.S. patent. Good was born into slavery in 1850, and after the Civil War, she moved to Chicago and opened a furniture store. It was there that she came up with an idea that would bring more urban residents with limited space into her store. She invented a folding cabinet bed. By day, the piece of furniture could be used as a desk, and at night, it could be a fold-out bed. Good received her patent 30 years before the Murphy bed, a hideaway bed that we use today. Thank you for watching. I'm Kirk Buddy.
All right, so you know that sister did that. But okay, so and then today, right, was the day that in 1822 that Denmark Vesey led his rebellion. On this day, you know, like over 200 years ago, like 202 years ago. So, yeah, I'll play a little bit of that.
Polygamist, a former slave who had purchased his freedom with money won in a lottery. A man described by his acquaintances as mean and intolerant of human frailty. Denmark Vesey seemed an unlikely candidate to unite slaves and free black people in the fight for their liberty. As the property of a slave ship's captain, Joseph Vesey, for nearly
as a slave, being forced by Captain Vesey to go down to the docks and even bring ashore slaves who were being imported into South Carolina and get them to the slave pens in Charleston, reminded him that this was not a world of brotherhood.
In 1816, Denmark Vesey and other black Methodists in Charleston
1816, my bad.
elected to separate from the white church. By 1820, there were some 3,000 members of the city's African church, accounting for nearly a third of the members of the AME denomination nationwide.
The church was opening this horizon. People were experiencing this conversion so that all of a sudden they see themselves as a part of this larger world, this larger God, this cosmos, where they have rights.
When white authorities shut down Charleston's African church, church members decided it was time to orchestrate a plan to free the slaves of Charleston. They were led by Denmark Vesey.
So Negroes like, yo, we gonna free ourselves, like, you know, by any means necessary.
Vesey called a meeting to organize the strike, excluding, he said, slaves who accepted presents of old coats from their masters, and the pastor in charge of the African church.
He said all Negroes is welcome except for the Negroes that accept their master's coat. Very interesting who they excluded, you know.
Coats from their masters, and the pastor in charge of the African church.
I one night met at Vesey's a great number of men. Vesey said the Negroes were living such an abominable life, they ought to rise. I said I was living well. He said though I was, others was not, and that it was such fools as I that were in their way. Frank.
The number
I don't know why they always play this music
of
in the background.
conspirators in Vesey's plot was estimated to be in the thousands, making it the most far-reaching insurrection planned in North America.
Denmark Vesey's plot against Charleston, South Carolina, was one of the most significant of the attempts to strike against slavery by American slaves. It's probably the most elaborately planned of the conspiracies that we know about. And it's interesting in several regards. One of the ways in which it's interesting is that it appeals to both biblical Christianity and to African conjure.
He won't promise to join because he was a doctor, that is a conjurer. He said his charms would not protect him from the treachery of his own color. Witness number 10, a Negro man.
Unlike Gabriel 20 years before, Vesey planned to spare few whites. But like Gabriel,
We ain't sparing nobody, according to
his
them.
insurrection ended before it began. Vesey was informed on by one of his men and captured and sentenced to die.
So this brother was on this day, on July the 14th, you know, this brother was planning it, but somebody snitched on him, right? And you heard him talking to the other brother. He was like, man, you good. You know, you got whatever you got. You living good. Why you worried about it? And he was like, see, it's Negroes like you that keep us in this situation. You feel me?
Denmark Vesey, it is difficult to imagine what infatuation could have prompted you to attempt an enterprise so wild and visionary. You were a free man, were comparatively wealthy, and enjoyed every comfort. You ought to have known that success was impracticable. A moment's reflection must have convinced you that the ruin of your race would have been the probable result. Lionel H. Kennedy, presiding magistrate.
Tore down the African church, brick by brick.
Today, it represents a sense of crucial autonomy for Black people, and an autonomy which in Charleston had turned dangerous.
In one Friday, late in July of 1822. The state executed in one moment 22 of Vesey's followers. Instead of using the regular gallows, they simply tossed ropes over an old wall known as the Lines that was built in the northern part of Charleston.
The 22 were all slaves. A crude platform was built for them to stand on, but the platform was so low to the ground that when...
All right, so, like I said, that happened on today. And by the way, this is, the disrespect, but this is a brother who we should, talk about, because they was like, yo, in the next coming days, back then, all of the people down with them or who they accused, they whatever. So we definitely make it like shouts out to like Denmark Vesey was the day he planned for it to free us,
Monument vandalized in downtown Charleston. News 2's Lexi Moore spoke with activists about what they hope the next steps are hours after the Denmark Vesey statue was defaced.
The granite damage here on the pedestal of this statue of Denmark Vesey, and tonight activists are demanding answers. Activists are questioning the motive behind the vandalism.
I think the motive is
going as quickly as possible. Just get this out of the way and let's get out of here.
Now they want the statue to be in a more visible location.
I don't know why Vesey had to be put in a corner somewhere.
You don't know why.
Out of sight, to the fact that there are no cameras, I don't believe, there that to record any vandalism.
The city of Charleston and Charleston Police Department are investigating what is being called significant damage to the Denmark Vesey statue in Hampton Park. Officials say it was caused by a large hammer or similar object. Mayor John Tecklenburg released a statement saying, quote, "As with other recent acts of vandalism against our city's monuments, we will repair the damage. We will work to punish those who did it, and we will never allow this kind of cowardly misconduct to divide our city or distract our citizens from the real and meaningful progress that we're all making together." Activists like Pastor Thomas Dixon say they want more evidence gathered.
If there's evidence there that has not been treated forensically, been dusted for fingerprints and fibers, we expect the full extent of law enforcement's capabilities.
Dixon hopes to see justice served.
Is doing and has been doing everything they can in order to ensure.
See, like, that's what I'm saying. Like, he looking to see justice is ensured. Denmark Vesey knew how to ensure justice, and some Negro went and snitched on him, right? And it was not him per se, but Negroes that be like, oh, well, anyway, I ain't gonna say that.
That whoever did this is captured, arrested, charged, and arrested.
City officials.
And that's it. All right, now y'all. Also, in 2 days, right, it will be Ida B. Wells' birthday, right? And I gotta show her respect, but I'm not gonna be on the live, or whatever. And I ain't gonna do a whole one on her again, but I already gotta show my respect to the great Ida B. Wells, and play a little bit of her story, I guess.
It was on this corner, it was approximately here. That's where the actual People's Grocery sat, where Moss, Stewart, and McDowell had their store. A black-owned business that had been open to sell to the people who lived in the area, which were predominantly black. Right across the street over here on this vacant lot was a white-owned grocery store. A fight broke out, police get called into it, and they wound up arresting the People's Grocery owners. And then a mob forms. Moss, McDowell, and Stewart are captured. And then they are brought out here by these railroad tracks on the outskirts of the city, and they're murdered here.
The lynching here in 1892 was just one of thousands that occurred in the United States. While the emancipation...
Ida B. Wells was a journalist, a suffragist, a civil rights activist who used truth to bring light to the situation and make people aware.
Ida B. Wells' journalism shows the noblest part of free speech in that it helps shine a light on deep injustices.
Family in Holly Springs, Mississippi, education in 1954.
Tennessee passed a law that
which allowed segregation and discrimination on the basis of race. Wells harshly criticized the condition of black schools in Memphis, a subject she was intimately familiar with as a teacher.
She decided to write an article about that to expose what was really happening, and as a result, she lost her job. And so she made the decision.
Lynching is the taking of a life extrajudicially by 3 or more persons.
Black people could be dragged out of their homes at any moment's notice for any reason, whenever anybody felt like it. There was no protection because the people who were doing it were the law. They were the sheriff, they were the attorneys, they were the judges.
The People's Grocery lynching in Memphis struck particularly close to home.
My great-grandmother, these were her friends.
Ida B. Wells was the godmother of Thomas Moss's children. They were very, very close friends. I mean, and when that happened,
the narrative went
ransacked the Memphis offices of her
career in journalism.
All right, so and we've been over, Ida B. Wells' story, the whole thing in great detail, but I want to play this one, right? After everything. Now check this out, right? Now, after everything, they use her name disrespectfully.
Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon.
In March 2022, when President Joe Biden signed the nation's first anti-lynching law,
The Emmett Till Anti-Lynching Act, making lynching a federal hate crime for the first time in American history.
Oh, wow. Whoa. They passed the Emmett Till law. It only took, 82 years?
public historian Michelle Duster was there to represent her great-grandmother, Ida B. Wells,
Yeah, they're still doing
who
the same
organized
thing.
the first campaign to make lynching a federal crime.
This is Ida B. Wells' granddaughter or great-granddaughter about to speak.
Since my great-grandmother's visit to the White House 124 years ago, there have been over 200 attempts to get legislation enacted.
But she wondered, why did it take so long?
Why did it take so long?
And these are some of her more famous quotes. The way to right wrongs is to turn the light of truth upon them.
Who wanted to put them out of
Let's see, we already
to such shocking brutality and indescribable barbarism as the people of life as a crowd looked on. Never, she wrote, has any Christian people stooped to such shocking brutality and indescribable barbarism as the people of Paris, Texas, on the 1st of February, 1893.
Killing black people in public.
ACP. One of their
The House
not make that in 1935 in Congress.
because they're still doing it.
I said, well, now I feel very strongly about the anti-lynching bill. He explained that he could not make that bill a must because he had to have the Southern votes.
Could not make the anti-lynching bill. That's why, because they had to keep white people. They didn't want to lose too many white voters, you know what I'm saying?
Eventually, the public became less tolerant of lynching, in part because of the awareness created by Ida B. Wells and the NAACP.
Their activism did have an appreciable impact on American attitudes. And by the 1960s,
Succeed until 2022.
2022.
In the wake of nationwide protests over police killings of Black Americans.
Already.
Police violence no more!
amazing day.
Violence no more!
The day that the
have
legislation
mercy.
was signed by Joe Biden was an amazing day for me.
Thank you for never giving up. Never, ever giving up.
Thank you for never giving up. And they used her name so disrespectfully to even have her great granddaughter as a like, I take that as a sign of disrespect, because like I would say, like, if I had to pick a hero, I would say Ida B. Wells is one of them, you know. And it's disrespectful to like use her family and all of that. You think she'd be cool with that, or you think she'd be on with us like, yo, y'all still doing the same damn thing?
The most important lessons, I think, from Ida B. Wells' life and work are that...
Anyway, you know, if y'all want to hear one of her books, The Matron, this is her channel. Y'all subscribe to her channel. A few weeks ago, she did Ida B. Wells' book, Mob Rule in New Orleans. So y'all definitely subscribe to her. And right now, she just finished The Black Bourgeoisie and the Black Anglo-Saxons, you know what I'm saying? So y'all definitely subscribe to her. But anyway, you know, speaking of that, you know, because they just sitting there talking about the part. Now on this day too, right? This is when that whole Dixiecrat stuff, like when they be like, oh, the parties switched and all of that stuff. This is when all of that stuff happened, right? The whole Dixiecrat, and then they start heading the switch to the Republicans that we know today, right? That happened on this day when they had that Democratic convention or whatever, because of civil rights for Black people, the civil rights thing, you know. So yeah, this is some of it. Let me see, what is this? All right, and then after this, we're gonna I want to show you something else before y'all leave, you know.
The Southern revolt against President Truman reaches its climax at Birmingham under the states' rights banner. Venerable Alfalfa Bill Murray comes out of retirement to join in the protest against the president's civil rights program. More than 6,000 flocked to the Rump Convention to select a presidential ticket. In the forefront of the move are Alabama and Mississippi.
No, it was like, oh, the white people gonna be mad if they do this and do that, you know. It's been the same thing.
The Democratic National Convention at Philadelphia. Roar's session, which precedes the nomination of Governors Thurmond of South Carolina and Fielding Wright of Mississippi as...
This is when they be like, the Democrats was the KKK, but they all, it doesn't matter, right? Because that's just an American thing. But a lot of them ended up going to the Republican Party after this thing, which was held on this day in 1948, I think. I don't know. I should have picked the right one.
The year was 1948, and the candidate was Harry S. Truman. He was down in the polls at the time and feeling the heat in more ways than one as Southerners once again rebelled.
How do we bid you goodbye?
Delegates from Alabama and Mississippi stormed out of the convention hall in protest after the party adopted a civil rights platform supporting an anti-lynching law.
See, well, there you go. Like, it's 1948, which they never, obviously, didn't pass it until, what they say, 2022. At the same time, they gave you Juneteenth, you know what I'm saying?
The desegregation of the military, equal opportunity for employment, and the elimination of poll taxes, which prevented poor people from voting.
This was a pivotal moment.
No, not poor people, because what they did was grandfathered in the poor white people who could already vote. They just used grandfather laws, right? And the poll taxes and tests and all that stuff really only applied to Black people, like count the jelly beans in this jar, because they grandfathered in the, you know, them.
in the life of the Democratic Party and resulted in the birth of what we consider to be the modern Democratic Party.
The Historical Society of Pennsylvania keeps a collection of memorabilia from the event, television coverage. Enough hotel rooms in the city, so many people had to stay up to 50 miles away.
The world at war here.
Galvanized supporters.
This crusade for the right.
All right. So, that's enough of the history stuff. Now, I was going to show something else, but I'm not going to do it. I'm going to just go back to what I was going to talk about. I'm going to talk about something completely different than y'all talk about. Now, Cassandra, I don't know if you're still in there, and Erica, y'all still in there. But, there's another update with that OnlyFans girl. Now, remember, they took the dude's computer and tried to hide evidence for her, but now they are like dropping the charges on the girl parents and on her for trying to hide evidence, right? So I don't know if they're trying to set it up for later to let this girl off or whatever is going on, but check it out.
At breaking news at the top now at noon, prosecutors today dropping a computer hacking case against OnlyFans model and murder suspect Courtney Clenny and her parents. This after a judge found the state improperly gathered evidence against them.
Well, NBC 6's Tony Pipitone live at the criminal courthouse in Miami. And Tony, what exactly?
They improperly gathered evidence.
Found the state improperly gathered evidence against them.
Well, NBC 6's Tony Pipitone live at the criminal courthouse in Miami. And Tony, what exactly does this mean for the murder case against Clenny?
Well, really nothing that we're aware of yet. Today's dismissal only applies to the charges of unauthorized access to a computer, charges filed earlier this year by prosecutors who thought the Clennys and their lawyers were up to no good in texts and emails. But Judge Laura Sharon Cruz found just the opposite, that the lawyers and clients were doing what she called the...
So this judge here was like, oh no, so basically they was like, yo, they was trying to get rid of evidence and they found text messages and all that kind of stuff against her. And they trying to get rid of all of that. But she like, oh no, it's okay. That it's cool that they have a right to get rid of the evidence, I guess. Right? But she's a white bitch. She was like, yo, I would do the same thing. So she got to make sure that she's good.
Cruz found just the opposite, that the lawyers and clients were doing what she called the normal investigation of a criminal case.
Okay, yeah, because it'd be saying 0 people is in
The
here.
prosecution, she said, had blinders on, assuming that lawyers and clients were engaged in criminal activity and seeking the password for a laptop taken from that house. If they were doing something wrong, the state could get around the attorney-client privilege, but they were not, the judge found. So the charges were dropped, giving some relief to Courtney Clenny's parents.
Finally, truth has prevailed.
This fool.
Also, I'd like to say that this has been...
Hey, he switched up real quick. He hit the truth has prevailed. And then I want to say, they never had, they must not have tear ducts. Neanderthals must not have developed tear ducts or something, because they always crying, but I've never seen a tear yet. Ain't that something? This fool acting like he crying.
Finally, truth has prevailed. Also, I'd like to say that this has been an ordeal for Deborah and myself for 5 months, especially for the last 2 years, with Courtney being held unjustly for a crime that she did not commit. But
dude, she got the dude blood on her. A crime she did not commit? What is he talking about? This is crazy.
For 5 months, especially for the last 2 years, with Courtney being held unjustly for a crime that she did not commit. But it's an ordeal we would gladly go through again 100 times over if it would provide justice for Courtney.
Look at this.
Their daughter, though, still faces a second-degree murder charge in the stabbing death of boyfriend Christian Abumseli in their Miami condo in 2022. Her attorney said if the state attorney does not remove itself from the murder case, he will ask the judge to do it for them, arguing the state attorney's office is tainted by what they read in those emails and texts. Now, Clenny has claimed that she stabbed...
So now all the evidence that they have of where they was colluding with each other, texting each other about getting rid of evidence and all of these other things, now they're throwing it out of court. And now they want to get whatever lawyer and the jurors and everybody who heard about it, they're trying to get them, removed from the case. So you know, there's no evidence of how they literally sat there and plotted on how to get rid of evidence, right?
Her boyfriend in self-defense, but prosecutors say there's evidence that she was the aggressor in this relationship and therefore is responsible for second-degree murder. In a statement this morning, the state attorney's office tells me prosecutors did not know that Clenny's criminal attorneys were also representing her parents at the time that they obtained these messages, so they say they didn't know they were doing anything wrong, violating that attorney-client privilege, but they respect.
They said, oh, we just made a mistake. Oops, we just gathered evidence wrong. We didn't know who their lawyer was. Well, I don't know what they were doing with them anyway. Like, oh, so we made a mistake. So we got to throw this evidence out.
Wrong, violating that attorney-client privilege, but they respect the judge's findings and decided not to appeal, leaving them no choice but to drop these charges against the parents and Courtney Clenny. Reporting live at the courthouse, Tony Pipitone, NBC.
Yeah, gaslighting. That's crazy. So now the parents is off for like colludeness.
I guess so, like anything wrong. And I want him. Okay, the police are here. I want a restraining order against Christian Abumseli.
And her parents relating to the laptop owned by the victim in this case. Let's discuss. I'm Dave Ehrenberg, state attorney for 2 million followers online, and she had a tumultuous OnlyFans model who built up a following of more than 2 million followers online. And she had a tumultuous relationship with her boyfriend, Christian Abumseli, and it led to his stabbing death. Now, she claims she was a victim herself of domestic violence, and so she said that she stabbed him in self-defense.
Warning. What part of we cannot do anything with you, or you don't understand?
You didn't like me the other day when I didn't do anything.
Did I say that?
I didn't do anything.
I'm just like, okay, so unfortunately right now, like we explained already.
Isn't this resisting arrest? Isn't that what she's doing right now?
Many times. We have to wait here because we're conducting this investigation. We got to get...
You know, this spit can't... This Mexican Spanish dude can't say nothing to no damn white. He better not put his hands on that damn white girl.
To the bottom of what happened, and the detectives are going to talk to you. Right now, you cannot move, wash, go anywhere. You can just so stay comfortable there.
Oh, for like investigations.
The medical examiner said that the knife, which she said she threw at the victim from 10 feet away, could not have been thrown from 10 feet away. So that, according to the medical examiner, is a lie. And secondly, there are plenty of reports that she has been the aggressor in the relationship. I mean, check out this video of her inside of an elevator where, according to her, he was trying to get up to her apartment and she then lashed out. Apparently, there were other incidents as well where she allegedly had stabbed him previously. And she has admitted to having some alcohol issues. So this is going to be a difficult one, I think, because she's going to have to take the stand in her defense. Generally, for self.
Look at all that evidence against her, right? They didn't threw out all the evidence about them texting and all that, but this drunk hood trailer trash white girl, right, on camera abusing her. Hell, her friends is saying, well, yeah, she did abuse him, right? They got her on the scene. They know that she's lying about everything, right? But they trying to work it out. And the big question is, why is it taking so long for this trial to even happen in the first place? This was a long time ago, and they still going through all of this, you know? This is taking an awful long time.
Self-defense cases, you have to do that. And I'm not sure she's going to have a lot of jury appeal when the jury sees some of these videos and also learns about her occupation. And I'm not one to criticize someone's profession. Look, I'm not going to try to shame someone for choosing to be an influencer or an OnlyFans model, but I will say that you don't have as much jury appeal when the jury sees you, especially women on the jury, sees you making your living as an OnlyFans model, as an influencer, and then combined with the fact that there are videos of you in an elevator and allegations that go to the fact that you are likely the aggressor in many of these instances. But against Courtney Clenny, the case forced the prosecutor's hand not only to drop the case against the parents, but against Courtney Clenny. When it comes to the laptop, the murder case still goes on. The second-degree murder charge still goes on. But when it comes to the laptop, the judge
second-degree murder charges, by the way, not even first-degree murder, second-degree.
Concluded that the laptop was discovered based on the texts and emails between Courtney Clenny and her parents, but also her attorney was on those communications. And you may be saying, well, the attorney-client privilege only protects the communications between Courtney Clenny and her attorney. It does not protect against communications with a third party. And in fact, when a third party comes into play, then that breaks the attorney-client privilege. But the parents, turns out, also had retained Courtney Clenny's lawyer. Yes, the prosecutors did not realize this at the time, but
because they probably actually didn't, but who knows?
Parents of Courtney Clenny and the defendant.
You know, you get the point, right? So pretty much, you know, they letting them go. And this is like black people running this girl out of somewhere.
Yeah, and they're seeking justice.
Typing, sir?
Yeah,
What?
let's all videotape her. Right now, you should go. Yeah, you should go.
Justice?
Because you just killed her boyfriend. Yeah, you did. Yeah, and he's right to, okay, cool.
But that's the thing, like y'all, if y'all ain't making their life a living hell, if that's at the very least making their life a living hell, then I don't know what to tell you. All right, so you know another one. Now I want to say that listen to what these fools talking about. They talking about, oh well, we the least racist people, and they're getting railroaded too about
white
enslaving
foster
black children.
Parents who adopted black children and then put them basically in enslavement. Well, the friends, family, they're saying, well, they're the least racist people I know. Put up the picture full mass here. In an update, friends and relatives of a white West Virginia couple accused of locking their adopted black children in a barn and allegedly forcing them to work as slaves are rallying to their defense, claiming the husband and wife are, quote, the least racist people around, end quote. Now keep that picture up.
He said they're the least racist ones.
Please understand, this statement is
it's probably
true.
Yeah, they probably are the least
compared to the relatives and friends from the outside. This was on the back of the property, which had no working lights. It had no running water and fitted with a door that locked, not from the indicating substantial risk of them, didn't add up. Quote, they've been made out to be monsters, which isn't true, he told the Daily Mail. You're supposed to be innocent until you're found guilty, end quote. Hughes suggested that the couple's charitable work on behalf of black children had incensed the community. Quote, just because nobody's told their side of the story doesn't make her guilty, he added. There were issues in the neighborhood because white people are raising black kids. Police also found a third child identified as a 9-year-old black girl who was confined to a loft inside the main house, away from the presence of adults and isolated from other siblings, according to reports. Now, if you see the statement of the brother, he's not actually defending the allegations. He's just basically saying there's another side to the story, but does not provide any exacting details to that other side. And what other side could it be? These children, according to every report, were incarcerated on the property, 7 and 6 years of age.
Yeah, 6 and 11.
It's not who we are. The accusations, noting they moved from Washington in search of a normal life. Quote, we don't even know how to spell racist, Hughes exclaimed. Another quote, it's just not part of the culture there. We're the least racist people around. It's not who we are. And to be accused of that is just icky by our family. Yes, he said icky. Hughes said he has always supported law enforcement, but now said he was rethinking that stance, feeling that the couple was being railroaded by law enforcement. We're glad that.
So he was back to blue up until, you know, they got
you
caught.
Always have supported law enforcement. The issue is anyone support? But then we got to this, and we went out in the house and looked at ourselves, and we said, this doesn't seem right. They just lied. It's not even a mistake. They're being held in jail based on information that's not true. Before moving to West Virginia, the couple lived in Washington State, where neighbors called police on the couple after allegedly witnessing them to remain in his room.
So, you know, you see they saying like, yeah, we the least racist, but
$500,000 each.
So listen, they
$25,000 signed over power of attorney to Hughes, who arranged bail. The couple was released that month to await.
They was released on bail after that. Straight released on bail.
Trial. There's more. They remained free for several months. But in May, a grand jury indicted them on more than a dozen new charges, including human trafficking, which prompted Akers, the judge, to revoke the lower bond and order the couple jailed again in lieu of $500,000 each.
So they got more charges, and he still gave them another bail.
Quote, along
for human trafficking or enslaving black children. $500,000
with human trafficking.
That's the price you got to pay.
And included alleged use of a minor child in forced labor.
All right. Anyway, one last thing about this. I might as well play all this stuff now. I know people are already heard none of this stuff that I'm playing today, but that's fine. I might as well do this now. But I want you to see this. I probably should save this for like when I talk with one Casidra on here. But look at this, man. Look what happened to this little girl here at 3 years old. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know people don't like to hear a lot of these stories and stuff like that, but I'm like, I might as well show it right now. But like, they let this fool here babysit this little girl, talking about mental illness and parenting and all of that. Like, that's crazy.
Everybody, and welcome back to the channel. Well, I must say on this one, Sister Monica warned me. She said this one might grieve you a bit. And she was absolutely right. Absolutely right. This one had me buffering for a number of different reasons. So we're looking at a situation where this monster, this white man you see here on the right of the screen, he did the unthinkable to this 3-year-old child while babysitting her. Now she's no longer with us. She's gone. I'm still trying to figure out, how did he end up babysitting her? I want you all to listen to the report first. Then, of course, I'll be right back.
Guys, this is 3-year-old Josephina Cunningham, forever 3, because she was actually raped so severely by her babysitter, 34-year-old Robert Fisher, that she passed away. Her mom walked in, found Josephina foaming at the mouth with blood all around her, and Robert Fisher admitted to his crimes. Once he was arrested, he went into graphic detail about not only the SA assault on the 3-year-old child, but also what he did afterwards to her body to try to cover up his crime. Now, the family is supposed to have been very acquainted with Mr. Fisher. They knew him, they trusted him. They haven't said that if he watched the baby before, but just that they knew him well and they trusted him enough to ask him to watch the child.
Details.
Like, are you kidding me? Like, they said they knew him and trusted him enough. A dude, first of all, a freaking white dude. They knew him and trusted him enough to watch their 3-year-old baby. Like, are you kidding me? And my thing is, I wonder, like, and this one I have to say, like, I wonder if a black dude, if he was a black dude, would they feel as comfortable? That don't even make any sense. Why would they? That doesn't even make any sense. Like, that is in child endangerment if I ever seen it.
Before, but just that they knew him well and they trusted him enough to ask him to watch the child.
Details about the murder of a 3-year-old girl in Rensselaer, in a case prosecutors are calling heinous and horrifying. And tonight we're learning more about the very young victim. Kumi Tucker was in court for the arraignment of Robert Fisher in Troy.
Investigators say this is a terribly disturbing case, and a 3-year-old girl lost her life, Josephina Cunningham. Robert Fisher stood in front of Judge Deborah Young this morning in Rensselaer County Court. He pleaded not guilty. There was a sizable presence of police, fire, and EMS in memory of the 3-year-old victim. On the morning of July 7th, emergency crews were called by her mother to an apartment on Broadway in Rensselaer for an unresponsive child. Prosecutors say the little girl was foaming at the mouth. 3-year-old Josephina Cunningham was pronounced hospital.
The fact that the age of the victim alone is difficult. You know, a lot of the fire guys, a lot of the police people have young children at home. So that alone is difficult. And then, you know, it's a homicide. You know, somebody lost their life.
Prosecutors say Fisher was a friend of her mother. They would not give details about the cause of death other than to say it was homicidal violence as a result of the assault.
I can speak for myself and probably everyone behind me. This has been absolutely heinous and horrific, something that the normal investigator, the normal prosecutor doesn't anticipate. So it's been very hard for everyone. The innocence of the child, the brutality of the act, which we can't comment specifically on at this point.
Fisher was sent to jail with no bail. After the arraignment, there was some shouting and fighting outside the courtroom, but some family members want the focus to be on this little girl.
They fighting and all this stuff now.
Case, 3-year-old Josephina, or Josie, a sweet little girl with bright eyes and a beautiful smile. Her mother says she's her little angel, taken away from us way too soon.
Wow.
Okay, so I'm just going to be honest with you right here, y'all. You can't talk about this story and not talk about how this man ended up babysitting this 3-year-old child. How this man ended up babysitting her. I understand the family is wanting to put all of the focus on the child at this point. But you can't do that. This is a package deal. You got to talk about the monster that took her away from here. And you also have to talk about the lack of judgment. See, that's why I say that friends have to be proven. The Bible says never trust your enemy.
And and this is the thing. I'm like, and maybe we'll bring this one back up because, I ain't even going to talk about it. But like, yeah, man, you letting this fool babysit this little girl? Are you like crazy? Like, what is wrong with us? You know what I'm saying? Anyway, this is
terrible detail. Stuart.
I should like to.
All right, I'll come back to this, maybe next time, with Cassandra if she want to talk about this. But I'm gonna go on to something else. Now, listen, I know people probably don't want to hear anything that I'm talking about today, and they only want to hear. But I'm not gonna lie, a lot of black people or people that I'm listening to is getting on my nerves, and like everything is about this whole election thing and about what happened to old boy the other day. You know what I'm saying? Like, they missed. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. You know what I'm saying? Like, but I don't want to talk about that because like that's what everybody is talking about, and it's annoying me. I'm not gonna lie to you, and so I ain't even gonna talk about anything serious. I don't even care. But while I'm here, I'm gonna talk about some of the things that I want to talk about, right? Some of the things that I think I know people don't want to hear, and I've been chilling with, so I'm gonna just go ahead and play that today, and then I'm gonna get off of here. Now, first, I want to play this. I know, like, y'all probably don't want to hear this, and but this was pretty funny. You know what I'm saying? Because I want to play
and
something.
put their
It's gonna
hand
lead
on your
to what
shoulder
we're
and
talking
say,
about.
look, Angel Reese is really the person we're trying to push right now, yada, yada, yada. They send messages to the other sports channel. That was a really vile joke. I mean, seriously, it's amazing. As good as that guy is, Harrison Butker is a problem. Okay. By the way, and we'll watch the video, but Serena did all this wearing a blonde wig. You're shooting at white people wearing a blonde wig? Really? Okay. So Serena Williams went for the ace in the 2024 ESPY Awards monologue. Don't worry, we will look at reaction to this because Serena Williams is getting destroyed today. I mean,
By the way, they don't have enough wit or aren't clever enough to even destroy anybody.
blasted
right?
like the Death Star in the dust. Seriously. 23-time Grand.
Oh yeah, Cassandra, I'm glad you saw that, Cassandra, because I don't know if you want to talk about that. I'll bring that one up on Wednesday and talk about that. But yeah, that's a part of everything we've been talking about. You let that dude babysit that little baby. Wow. Yeah, we're gonna bring that up. Yeah.
Slam winner and host of this year's awards in LA came into the show with plenty of comedic material, and one joke came at the expense of Fever phenom Caitlin Clark. Williams, who entered the stage surrounded by people in tennis outfits, first praised the number 1 overall pick in the 2024 WNBA draft applause at the packed Dolby Theater. Well, let's just check it out, shall we?
Caitlin Clark had an amazing year and is nominated for 3 awards. Caitlin, you are the Larry Bird in that you are an amazing player. You have ties to Indiana, and white people are really crazy about you.
Look.
Oh, how horrible. White people are really crazy about a loser. You know what I'm saying? It's a part of Great White Hope culture. We know that. But we know that they're also crybabies, right? And he mentioned the blonde wig, right? And this is the thing. A lot of black people do this when they talk about like all of that. But we can't act like there hasn't literally been laws that make the hair we grow out of our head illegal. And it's unprofessional, right? And y'all don't want to like destroy their economy and society, so you fit in with their system, and so you like gotta go to work, right? So and it happens to young boys too. It happens to men, black men and boys too, like when they have dreads or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like it just happened to the student. So let's not act like this is a whole thing, but it just gets on my nerves when black people do that, you know.
There's already a vile narrative towards Caitlin Clark fans online. Serena did not have to play into that. Did not have to throw another log on the fire with that. By the way, Caitlin won Best Collegiate Athlete.
How? She didn't even win in collegiate athletics. You know what I'm saying?
She also won Best Record-Breaking Performance last night. For passing Pete Maravich, the all-time leading scorer.
And by the way, how would it wouldn't work? That wouldn't be an A performance.
After Serena Williams decided to make this joke about how crazy white people are while she's wearing a blonde wig, well, to say it was met with some fire would be the understatement of the century.
It's not.
Quote, while wearing a blonde wig to look more like Caitlin Clark.
By the way, the dumb girl, the man-looking girl, she's not even blonde. What is they talking about? Like, they're so stupid. She's not even blonde. They could have just said, like, a white girl or something. But they said to look like a man-looking girl that's not even a blonde. But they're kind of stupid, so.
By the way, her husband.
But we're gonna get to a major point here, which is why I'm even playing it, right? Because as Negroes, we love to do this, right?
White dude. What is it with? I mean, Kamala Harris, Serena Williams.
Right. So, this is it. They're talking about her husband, right? And listen to what he says here.
More like Caitlin Clark. By the way, her husband, white dude. What is it with? I mean, Kamala Harris, Serena Williams. You're taking shots at white people. These woke black people are taking shots at white people, but they're married to whites? Question mark? What's going on? Freshly bleached blonde and making white jokes. Money can't buy class. Oh, shit. You can take the girl out of the ghetto, but you can't take the ghetto out of the girl. She should.
Well, you can if you remove a part of her skull.
Look into the stands during one of her matches on occasion.
But let me see.
Serena Williams' blackness, society would implode on itself. If you had a white comedian making jokes about Serena Williams' blackness, oh shit! Today,
Lord have mercy. See, they cry about everything. I'm trying to get to the part where they was like, they're talking about this whole thing about the white husband, which brings up
that's good.
A great point, you know.
Sense we don't know. She's culturally appropriating that wig.
Lord have mercy. That's all I can say.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting.
They're uncreative though.
Said by a girl who's married to a white guy while wearing a white girl's wig. Oh, wow. Yeah. More like black people are obsessed with you. Woke ESPN.
Black people. They funny as
now
hell,
we
though.
know 4 times as many people are.
But they mentioned this whole thing about, right? You see how quickly, right? Now she's quote unquote woke or whatever, right? But married to a white boy, you know what I'm saying? Which does not make any sense, right? You see how quickly, like that acceptance in anything, if you even whatever, Negro, you best stay in line. You feel me? And even with this brother here, because I can't even play, but this brother was and look at him. He was falsely accused by a white girl. Now he's married to a white girl and splitting $25 million with her after being in prison for 40 years. Right. And by the way, what you think this white girl was doing for the last 40 years while he was in prison? Or unless he just met her and found another white girl after he did 40 years. I don't even think about it that way. I'm hoping that he already knew her, but he probably met another white girl and still in the same damn situation. It's crazy.
Okay. Anyway, you have this man who spent 40 years of his life in prison after being falsely accused of, you know what, raping a so-called white woman. Now he and his wife.
If they're not women, right?
Mm-hmm. They can now share in more than $25 million together. See, initially they gave him $750,000. That's why I say more than $25 million. So anyway, he and his wife can share $25 million. After he was accused of raping a white woman.
Lord have mercy.
Take a listen at the report, y'all. And of course, I'll be right back.
Oh my God. Have you heard the story?
Welcome back. The city of Concord will have to pay out a record civil settlement for its part in wrongfully convicting Ronnie Long.
You'll remember Long spent 44 years in prison for a rape he did not commit after detectives and prosecutors hid evidence that could have proven his innocence. Our cameras were there the day he was released from prison.
Now he just won a $25 million settlement. The city also issuing the 68-year-old a formal apology.
WCNC Charlotte's Michelle Bowden has been following this.
This is the biggest settlement in North Carolina's history for a wrongful conviction. One
down
of the
in North
biggest ever
Carolina.
in the U.S., but Long says it's the apology, something that's very rare in these cases
that means so much.
Lord have
It has been a
mercy.
long time coming.
Ronnie is relieved. He is relieved that finally there is a public recognition and an apology of what was done to him and his family.
Ronnie Long was just 20 years old and living in Concord when, as a young black
You
man, he
talking
was
about
accused of
apologize?
raping a prominent white woman. Police built a bogus case, lying on the stand, hiding evidence that proved his innocence, and tampering with the jury.
Not only did law enforcement officers lie, but prosecutors were engaged in an active campaign to ensure that despite the evidence of Ronnie's innocence, he remained incarcerated all these years. Well,
But the crime he may have did was like not rape her or whatever, but to sleep with her. You know what I'm saying? So he probably did do that, you know, which, you know, I don't know. Is that a crime in
past the
itself?
time, it was obvious that they had a wrongful conviction.
In August of 2020, Long was exonerated and freed after 44 years in prison for a crime he didn't commit. The governor pardoned him and the state compensated him just $750,000. He told us then it wasn't nearly enough.
North Carolina intentionally put me in the penitentiary. And you tell me still $150,000? It worth 44 years of my life.
Long filed a civil suit last year, and now the city of Concord is paying up with a record-setting $22 million settlement and an apology.
Here, the city of Concord really.
Now listen, my brother here, he got the Black Pride shirt on. He got the white girl in the red, black, and green, John, ready to give all his money to her. Got the damn shirt on. Like, brother, like you just did 40-some years because a white girl done lied on you, and the first thing you did was find a white girl. That's crazy, bro.
Owned up to the past misdeeds of city employees, which is really remarkable. I don't know of any other case where a municipality has issued such an apology as part of a civil settlement.
As part of the settlement, the city of Concord, quote, acknowledges and accepts responsibility for the significant errors in judgment and willful misconduct by previous city employees that led to Long's wrongful conviction.
Now, Odyby Wells would have covered his story, and then the fool would have got out of jail and married the first white girl he seen.
And imprisonment. The State Bureau of Investigation is also paying out $3 million, making the $25 million settlement the biggest in North Carolina's history for a wrongful conviction.
I think the message it sends is that both the city and the State Bureau of Investigation recognized that there was significant harm done here. And although money can't fix it, I think symbolically, when it's a large number like this one, I think that sends an equal message of apology.
Does the number sort of indicate how egregious the case was?
Pride. It's a cute hat, isn't it? Black Pride. Interesting. That's a really nice hat. Really, really, really nice hat. Huh. So this man spent 40 years of his life in prison after being falsely accused of, raping a so-called white woman. Now he and his wife can share in $25 million together.
Lord.
And he has on a really nice cap that says Black Pride. Interesting. So here is the update to the story. Ronnie Long wins 22. It says the city of Concord will pay $22 million.
All right, that's just interesting. What we will do, Now, even because even with Serena. Now, speaking of that, with the black woman with the white husband thing,
YouTube Premium is ad-free.
I want to show you something, and why probably is a good reason why we are still to this day colonized everywhere we go in the world. Watch this nonsense, right?
Makes me so damn bad. Let's get into this.
Being African American before you will.
Now the white boy is saying, now this sister, who she do videos, she was a smart sister. Now this white boy is saying he is more African American than this African sister as a white boy because his parents, slaughtered and killed a bunch of people and moved to a land they wasn't supposed to be in, and they was born in a land he wasn't supposed to be in. So he thinks he is no, not even that. He married a damn white girl. A sister, right? And so he thinks he's more African than her. an African American than her. But I know he's doing it to piss her off. But I'll play it anyway.
African here.
Because she disrespected his sister, you know.
Snap. She has almost 30,000 likes on her video, and she's an African. I might want to sit down for this. I may have met my match. I'm not going to lie. I am expecting something that sounds
Negro
really
girl
intelligent.
over here.
I mean, I don't expect much Akwanushi from you because you are white.
Facts.
A little underwhelming. Not
And she's sitting there talking about what is wrong with this? And she's the one sharing this damn video. Like, what is wrong with this? The Negroes today, right? She's on this white boy side, and look who else is on this fool side.
I am expecting something that sounds really intelligent.
I mean, I don't expect much Akwanushi from you because you are white.
Facts.
A little underwhelming, not gonna lie.
Your wife, the ancestors are literally rolling in their graves. She should be embarrassed.
You know, I did meet them. We did get married together in Kenya, and
You met her ancestors, all right? And she talking about some got 'em. She said her ancestors are rolling in her grave. I did meet them when I went to Kenya. I met her ancestors. What? But anyway,
they weren't embarrassed. Actually, I think they liked me. Now, I don't want to sound mean or anything, but you kind of sound like
He had
a
white skin after
Pan-African.
all.
Yeah, you weren't really high.
So listen to this. He said, you kind of sound like a Pan-African, like, you know. So I'm going to let this play for y'all Pan-Africans that listen.
Mean or anything, but you kind of sound like a Pan-African. Yeah, you weren't really hiding it. You just kind of kept it out in the open for everyone to see. For those of you who don't know what a Pan-African is, let me blend you over to the African-American in the room and she'll tell you.
And this Negro girl, like, is looking for, she gonna end up like, they gonna end up like Serena did. But now this girl here who's about to speak is married to the damn white boy, right? And listen to what she's talking about.
Hold on. Actually, a little bit more African to sell this, just in case. What is a Pan-African? A Pan-African is an African who is racist. That's the short and long of it. A Pan-African is just like a black supremacist. They are very empowered by their Africanness. Therefore, they will gatekeep culture because how dare you, a vanilla person, sharing African culture, and so on and so forth.
All right, back to the colonizer. You know what? I'm just being rude. Let's hear those words of wisdom.
You would never.
Lord have mercy. So Pan-Africanism is black, and she talking about period and trying to say stuff like black people in America said. But it is racism and black supremacy. I wish black people had this mentality, but this is why I say black people may not be able to be racist. You know, like black people cannot be racist, right? And if you believe so, show me how. Show me black people practicing racism if they can be. Like, well, they're just not. Well, they probably not because they can't. But anyway.
Be African. You are European.
Let me get this straight. So
You
now
are
we're just going to
European.
cherry pick the history of my ancestors. We're going to determine
He
what I
said,
am based on.
cherry pick my ancestors. Only all of your ancestors up until the last ones who came here to kill people come from European. Oh, we're just cherry picking now, huh?
Wisdom.
You would never be African. You are European.
Let me get this straight. So now we're just going to cherry pick the history of my ancestors. We're going to determine what I am based on the middle points. Because if I've never been to Europe, but somehow I'm European because that's where my ancestors came from, then why stop there? Why not go all the way back? Let me introduce you to a thing called the cradle of life. You guessed it. I give you Africa.
Yeah, but the problem is you are a Neanderthal, buddy. That's the problem. You left out of this. Well, if they was ever there, right? I'm not even saying they was there because apparently Neanderthals was never there. So that's neither here nor there, right? But they got caught up, and we already know. But you're a Neanderthal, buddy, so you can't even say we all come from Africa. I don't think you do, man. You would have died, fool. You know the people with your thing can't go outside in the sun.
You can see right on the bottom there, the whole of Africa was the cradle of humankind. So it looks like I'm African after all. I mean, if you're willing to call me European and I don't even need a citizenship, then why not just call me
And this
African?
Negro girl over there
make a deal with
clapping.
this. Since my ancestors originated from Africa and I am now American, you can either call me African American now or You can wait until I get my dual citizenship and call me African American then. My sister. Stay blessed or oppressed. The choice is yours.
And he's talking about some African American, right? And I know he's doing that on purpose to like tease things, but that does bring up a thing, right? Where they sit there and take other people's like life and then the Negroes that let them and co-signed it. You know what I'm saying? Like, you play this because this is the most disappointing part. I don't give a damn what he thinks. The problem is this Negro girl here.
An African is. Let me blend you over to the African American in the room, and she'll tell
this
you.
Negro girl here.
Hold on.
Who probably don't think she's
a
a
little bit more
Negro.
African to sell this, just in case. What is a Pan-African? A Pan-African is an African who is racist. That's the short and long of it. A Pan-African is just like a black supremacist. They are very empowered by their Africanness. Therefore, they will gatekeep culture because how dare you, a vanilla person, sharing African culture and so on and so forth.
All right, back to the colonizer. You know what? I'm just being rude. Let's hear those words of wisdom.
Now, this damn Neanderthal, like, he's low IQ, you know what I'm saying? But it's the disappointing thing is all of these Negro women here in this situation, you know? But anyway, speaking of
in
that,
the toilet that I peed in when I went to Vits, you know?
And it's not your and how the system.
They didn't. Yes, they did. No, they didn't. Yes, they did.
And I'll be right back.
White people voted for this democracy. No, they didn't. Yes, they did. No, they didn't. Yes, they did. No, they didn't, Sissy. No, they didn't. Yes. A handful. Did you vote ANC in 1994?
I'm not talking about the ANC. Please listen. In 1992, white people had a referendum to decide whether they're going to allow the vote. And we gave the vote because we thought that what was happening was
yours
wrong.
to give. Do you acknowledge that? It was not your country to take in the first place, but we acknowledge the fact that you are here. We acknowledge that you are here. I think it's about owning the truth of your own story with all of its complexity. So for me, as an educated middle class woman, I know that when I walk into spaces, I carry a certain currency that is not carried by my brother who can't pee in a toilet that I peed in when I went to Vits.
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly.
But at the same time, I also acknowledge that when I do walk into spaces, for example, going into very poor, disenfranchised communities, I also have to acknowledge that the dysfunction that I see that exists in those communities is part of my historical baggage. I carry it within me. It's in my family. It's in my heart. It's in my choices. And what is worrisome is seeing people who own so much power in terms of land, in terms of resources, in terms of people you employ, in terms of the language that you've taken from these people and used to create a nation. You own so much power, but do you concede that? Do you acknowledge that? Do you own that? If you owned a little bit of that, it would be easy to come to the table with you.
What? It would?
Death is death, pain is.
If they owned a little bit that they slaughtered us and destroyed us and all of these things, then we can come to the table. What?
Pain. I mean, there were 350 years of conscription in this country. It's only one generation of white men who didn't go into the military. How much pain exists in white families? I'd be willing to hear that more than I'm willing to hear that your pain is your pain only, because everybody in this room is carrying pain.
But I don't believe the debate from our side. 20 years into this democracy, the debate from our side has never been to negate your pain, nor has it ever been about saying that we want back to where we came from. Is it your country?
It's all of our countries, but acknowledge it's all of ours.
It ain't all of ours. It's yours.
It's all of ours.
Now, I wonder if I go to South Africa, she'll be like, "Oh, it's all of ours," you know. Have a baby
That's
there.
fine. It's not yours. It's not yours. It's not the place. This is not the place. Sir? It's my country. Yes, sir. This is not the place.
It's everyone's country. Everybody wearing this beret. Trick where people go on stages. The problem is with people on the ground. Even the people sitting here. People who govern And politicians are determining the success of what is happening on the ground. We have rhetoric where people go on stages and say the colonists must go and we stole the land and we stole the mines. The Brits took the mines. Buddha never had mines. and we can't keep on having that rhetoric and move forward. Every time I switch on a television or I put on a radio and Julius Malema says that we don't belong here, and what is happening? It's a problem. You cannot preach reconciliation to one segment of the country and preach empowerment to the other segment.
All right. There's a vast difference between, and I agree with you, there's a vast difference between rhetoric that's used to manipulate the population and sway people and the truth. Né? And I would be interested in hearing how white people process the emotional baggage of what their ancestors did. I would be interested in trying to understand what it did to white families. How much silence did white people have to cope with? How did white people build a shield around themselves to be able to deal with the system in which whiteness operated all these years? That's an emotional conversation. That's a delicate conversation. I'd be willing to do the work of trying to unravel that, because right now as a black person, I'm trying to do the work of unraveling my own baggage, my own historical baggage. I think when white people start to do that work, then we'll start to begin the project of trying to understand how all of us belong to this place. But you can't erase history. We can't pretend the violence didn't happen. We can't pretend colonialism didn't happen. We can't pretend people weren't slaves. We can't pretend our people are not poor. It happened. It happened. I'd be willing to hear white people say, you know what? It was Kak trying to pretend that this situation was normal. But I'm not hearing white people do that work.
All right. What would that be?
All right. When we return, a poetic moment. Don't go away. But don't let her how to cuss. Who knows how to pray when she's about to run out of luck? Who knows how to laugh?
That's the problem, right? All we do is pray, right?
I hear it. I hear it. Just us being here, having this conversation together, getting to a space that we need to get to as a nation. It will take a very long time. It's not child's work. For me to sit and listen to Sunette, listen to Pierre, listen to Sisonke, and to Lebu, and hear the various voices. And that's what we did.
That's all we want to do here.
Well, explaining in a simple fashion that in this country we've got more than 70% of the nation that's living in utter poverty. And if you go into the townships and especially in the squatter camps and you say how our children are living, we're talking about kids. We're not talking about black, white, color. We're talking about kids. So when I look at economic freedom fighters, we are looking at changing this country to bring it into a social system where there will be no class, where the state, if we both reconcile. You cannot have Nelson Mandela giving forgiveness for a racist group of people that oppressed black people in the apartheid era and say, let us forgive them. They don't come forward and say, yes, we accept your forgiveness, let's reconcile with each other. They don't do that. We still have people in the audience here.
Forgive each other.
We still have people in the audience here, like a gentleman there when she was talking about the black people being more educated and can actually contest for a position. I had a comment say, yeah, let's kill them. It's those comments that makes people to be killed on farms also. Because when you undermine a black person in this country longer, they are going to kill you.
I'm Myrtle Witboy and I'm from the South Africa. And I remain in the backyard. I was there in the apartheid years. But one man came out and he forgave. And that time, when I was in the struggle, I did not say I was a colored. I did not say Mandela is black. We were fighting for freedom.
That's what these colors do.
We were doing myself as a colored. And when Comrade Mandela came out, he said there's black and there's white. And since that day I walked that path. I am black. And I am employers don't recognize us.
All right. Let's go on longer than I thought. All right. So speaking of that, and I'm gonna get off of here in a second, y'all. And speaking of like your friends over in Africa, I wanted you to check this out, you know.
There's no stopping There's no ignoring. There's no bullshit. I don't have anything to hide. You dumb birds. I worked hard like a man, not like a roach.
So Arabs even loud in your company.
I got God, cocksucker. What the fuck do you have? You begging nothing. You'll know your place when I'm done with you, you rat. Yo, what the f do you know about gold? What the f do you know about diamonds? What do you know about business? You know how to point your finger at someone and say, yeah, because of him things are bad. Yeah, I'm the bad guy going to the f***ing Congo to take. I'm not taking shit from the f***ing Congo. Okay? I get my gold and diamonds in the diamond district, you fucking dumbass mother.
Hey, I want you to check this video out. You're absolutely gonna love it. Wait till the end.
I'm in a natural diamond mine right now. Here in this remote part of Sierra Leone, these guys are searching for diamonds. The way they do it is during the dry season, when the water's not there, they pack away all of this mud, and during the wet season, they crush it down, and then one shovelful at a time, they throw it into something called a rocker, where they wash away the mud, and what's left is the gravel that's later to be packed away because it may contain a diamond. Now, when people hear Sierra Leone, they usually think conflict or blood diamond, but they don't understand that this is the only source of livelihood for some of these people, and there's something threatening to take that away. And that, of course, is the lab diamond, which is considered to be conflict-free, but of course there is a conflict. It's taking away the opportunity from some of the poorest people in the world to make their living, and that's why we're here, and I'm here with Martin Rappaport to explain what that's all
There's
about.
a reason God gave diamonds to the poorest people in the world and made the richest desire them. And fixing that connection.
Did you hear that fool? He said there's a reason why God gave He gave the resources to the poorest, and the richest desire them. No, that's not how it works, fool. They didn't get anything until they came over there. But that's what I'm saying. You walking on the ground of all of that stuff, but we worried about what the West is doing, what the other people, or they're worried about it, or we, or however you want to put it. And they coming over like they're claiming it like, oh, we are the richest people, right? And the diamonds are over here with the poorest people, right? But that's the thing that even makes them so-called rich, right? It's by taking your land, resources, and bodies, right, to enslave your ass.
Is what the diamond business is really about. Behind the diamond business are the people. Right. And people are more important than diamonds.
I want to thank Martin for inviting me out here, and I want to thank the beautiful people of Sierra Leone. The way you buy diamonds, if you really want to save money, and I really want to offer good prices to the consumer.
You know that guy? There's more. Wait for it.
So I got a lot of gold in my hand, and we're going to count exactly how much it's worth. Each kilo is at an all-time high of $77,400.
That is absolutely amazing. There's more.
So this is a diamond mine. And once the diamonds are depleted, there is still a future for this mine.
Wow. He's in Africa looking for diamonds and gold.
All right, forget it. Let's try. You gotta choose one. The traction figure in gold or the $100.
He goes to Africa to get gold, where gold is in Africa, and he's offering an African girl gold or US dollars because he knows she has no access to gold.
US girl say?
Now here's something you're definitely going to find interesting.
See, we like, oh, I will take this dollar, right, and give you this natural resource, right? We'll take the pieces of paper that you lent us, because we'll be worried about that as opposed to the damn stuff that they are. Well, it's not based on anything. It's supposed to be backed by gold, but it's not, But what it's supposed to be backed by, we would trade the thing that is supposed to be backed by for the thing that don't mean nothing.
Oh, merde. Merde, c'est trop parce que moi, on va embarrasser tout ce qui est là, mais c'est Sopna, mais c'est Pablo, c'est beaucoup de trucs qui sont là ici. Je suis avec.
That's where he gets his gold from. That's where he gets his diamond from. Have you ever heard the name Dan Gertler? Dan Gertler is from that country we all cannot name. He has ties to that guy. Same country, funded by his country. They are the ones funding and starting wars in Congo. They are the ones starting the wars in Gambia, in the Congo. They are the ones starting the wars in the Sudan. They are the ones threatening the Sierra Leonean government. If you don't stop us stealing, we are going to start a war in your country and destabilize it. And then he comes to TikTok. He has 1 million followers. So African people, we have to start being proactive, not reactive. What if we all started going to his account every day he posts, every single African on this app? There's more than 100 million of us. What if we went to his account every day and reminded him that that is blood gold and that is blood diamonds? What if we did that? Like, do you understand the level of confidence required to start a war that children, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9-year-old children are dying in mines for you to get that same product of that war, to come on TikTok and be giving people out, hey, you want that, to even have the nerve to show yourself going to Africa where you know you are stealing it, you are killing children for it.
I was there on a trade mission. I was invited to go there. I'm in the talks with the Botswana government to go over there to help them. You understand that?
We need the dates that you were in Botswana. That's all we want. Because I have people in my DM from Botswana who are willing to verify your information. We're going to reach out to customs in Botswana. We're going to find out the gold and the diamonds that you declared, because you're going to have to declare those when coming into the country to give them all as a gift. We're going to have to look at that. We'll find the receipts for that. We'll find the paperwork for that. We'll find out that when you give us the dates you were there, we want to find out the name of the government official. I have someone from Botswana, like I said, who.
Right, and listen, you know, and I could play more of this, but I'm not. I'm gonna get off of here. But listen, you invite other people into your spaces, into your atmosphere, into your bedroom, right, into everything, you know, and we end up in the same situation over and over, right? Well, the same situation from 130 years ago is the same thing today, and we haven't learned a damn thing. We still inviting everybody in. But if I talk about a black person talking about gold or diamonds or mining their own thing, well, something has to be wrong with this Negro. But you see how they go up into your spaces to take all of these things under the guise of helping you, right, to enrich themselves and their country and their people. Meanwhile, us all over the world is stuck in the same position. And we so worried about other people's government and which old white dude is better, you know what I'm saying, or what we should do, right? But this is, anyway, all I can say is this should be the response for
introducing the African Diaspora News Channel
I
app.
don't want to play that part. My bad. But this should be the response every time I start. But I saw this video before and I wanted to bring it back up because it made sense to be the close out. So it's not about this brother here. It's about you know, this video here. Hopefully, I don't know. It ain't working right. I'm about to get off here. It's a damn sure it ain't working right. It won't stop. It won't play. All right. Yeah, it won't even let me get off here. So, but yeah, man, at the end of the day, the lessons that we're going to learn over and over and over until we get it, right? That we have no friends, right? you worried about other people, you letting people babysit your children, you letting all these other people violate you and come into your spaces, right? And you still turn around and you marry them and want to love them and all type of stuff. You know what I'm saying? So hopefully this play, man. I'm trying to, man, this song is crazy. All right, I'm gonna play this. This is supposed to be the positive thing, and hopefully our children will learn that this is the only response that there can be.
Into a video that's been which has away while Africa. Have a look.
You are not bringing money.
No, hey, do not be aggressive. Are you fucking serious?
You better be aggressive. Only thing, he hitting the ground. That's my only problem. He ain't even trying to hit him. That's what Negroes do. We don't hit him. At least he ran him off, though. He's all moment. Stop it. Anyway. So listen, man. I appreciate y'all for listening. Shouts out to Casidra in the building, Rome in the bush. We're gonna be back on Wednesday at 8:30. So make sure y'all tune into that. You know, it's definitely gonna be a real conversation. We're gonna see what we're talking about. Shouts out to Erica Howard, who was in here. Grandma used to say, I appreciate Erica for coming through. And I guess that's it, you know. So I will let this be my last words, y'all. Let me see. Every time I try to do something on here, it frees up. I'm trying to get my last words. All right, here we go.
Are they singing? They are singing. That's why I hate these church-going Negroes, always praying and singing and praying. They all want to go to heaven, but none of them want to die.
Yeah, I guess our kingdom waits for us in heaven after we're dead. Or we could go ahead and take it right now, y'all. We could do that. Just go ahead and take what is ours right now, right? Let them implode and destroy each other. They ain't no white savior. Ain't no white savior. I don't care which side you're on, which country you're in, which one you think is your friend. Ain't no such thing as no white savior, right? No Trump, no Biden, no Russia, no Palestine, no dude you think can babysit your children. Or it's no savior. It's no friends. All we got at the end of the day. So as always, man, we have got to start standing for something, or we're going to keep falling for anything.